Welcome back to Evolve Songwriting, everybody. My name is Jake. This is where we break down your favorite music. Today, Carolyn Polachek, Desire, I Want to Turn Into You. We are going to getting into it. I'm very excited for this one. Really enjoyed Pang. Been listening to that heaps in lead up to this just to get myself back in the Carolyn zone. First things first, before we get into it, if you would like to subscribe down below, that way you will get every video fresh to your inbox, and follow the link in the description to reach our Discord server where we can chat further about the albums beyond the YouTube video. It's a great place. But yes, Carolyn Polachek, I was very impressed with Pang and the features that she's been doing. Also featured on a Flume song, who is a great Australian artist that you might know. So being more and more impressed by her work as she continues her career. From this record, I have actually heard Bunny as a Rider. I believe that's the only one, which is an absolute tune, and I can't wait to hear it again. It's been a while since I've listened to it. But based on that, I think we're gonna keep up her sort of ecstatic style. Very unpredictable. I'm hoping for some gorgeous vocal melodies as we got in Pang. I had a little bit of a background check on the album, and it's been described as very maximalist, so I don't think she's going to hold anything back. And also some weird influences. It seems like she's an artist where I don't think I can really go in with any expectations because of how diverse she is. So I will cast those aside and waste no more time getting into this album. We got 12 tracks. Indeed, 12 tracks, 45 minutes. Desire, I Want to Turn Into You. Let's hit it. Right, first track is Welcome to My Island. This is written by Carolyn Polachek, Daniel Nigro, and Jim Eastack. Daniel coming back, very big fan of his work in Pang. Produced by Carolyn Polachek, Daniel Nigro, Jim Eastack, and Danny Hall also coming back to the picture, which I definitely heard about in the background check. So if you haven't been paying attention, I will be having the lyrics up on screen on the left-hand side for me, just so that I can follow the lyrics a little more closely while my ears are picking up the production. But yeah, let's waste no time. Welcome to My Island. Yeah, classic belt from Caroline. Let's crank it. That syncopated harmonic timing. Kind of 80s thing.
Welcome to my island.
Then we lose harmony.
See the palm trees waving the wind.
All right, clear rhythm. Da-da.
See the palm trees.
Never gonna get sick of vocoders.
Welcome to my
Really hanging on this idea for a long time.
If you like me, you ain't leaving.
Yeah. Open. Okay, there's the album title. Ah, straight. So, man, first of all, straight up there with the vocals. Not hesitating to get up there. So we've got a really nice call and response, and why it works so well is because you have the long note on Desire and then the short rhythmic idea, hey, 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 right? So they're contrasting call and responses because I think in order to have a nice call and response, there sort of have to be a slightly different idea. Strong start, man. And just quickly notice the amount of 16th note action going on in the synths. They're real plucky, so you just get the transient, so it's not sort of swamping the sound and not much tail on these sounds. So it's a really nice way to give it some pace and energy without actually overwhelming the listener. Nice. Especially when you got these long vocals going that are spacious. Versus her vocal here, which is a very strong quarter feel. Here she's more very singy, fun, but in that verse it's more just, you know, rhythmic. Very pentatonic in the melody.
Just watch your ego, watch your head go. You're so smart, so talented, but now the water's turning red and it's all your fun, it's all your mess. And forget your friends, just you and your reflection.
Great bridge.
It's gonna be the same again. No, nothing's gonna be the same again.
Ooh, oh, lots happened there. Oh wait. Oh. I'm mostly just sticking with the scale. And that guitar. I love that high note. Everything's working. That's a sick opening track. Big fan. Yeah, it's not too much. Mentioned the contrast in the vocal melodies, the longer desire, right? That's bringing you this openness against the rhythmic hey, 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 and the 16th synths and percussion. Working really well, which is why I really liked the bridge, because we come back to that original tone that's in the verse, that real sort of energetic, she's almost rapping. But she really focuses on the syncopation, the dotted rhythm, and we get this kind of da 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 da. Really irregular rhythms, and it works really nicely because we don't really get that, because everything in the chorus is pointing to the hey, 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 right? And the verse is the dun dun dun. So sonically, the bridge didn't really go anywhere different, but it worked really well, in my opinion, because you had such a rhythmic contrast in the vocal. And there was enough there as well, because it's such a high subdivision, all the story came out in that bridge. I'm my father's daughter. In the end, he says, what's your ego, what's your head, girl? So that we get all this narrative. So I like the narrative drive through the bridge. Really nicely done. Cool. So we get this kind of... Right, this very, very pentatonic heavy, but harmonically super simple and melodically super, well, I say super simple, apart from the actual range you're sitting in, That is extremely hard to sing. Harmonically very retro. It's sitting in that kind of late rock, like just past your sort of post big rock and roll boom, where things started to settle down a bit and we started to get a bit more disco. But that harmonic timing, dun, dun, 1, 2, 3, 4, dun, dun. That's, I think, a very sort of 80s thing. And it just provides a nice groove as well. Awesome opening track. Production was clean. Vocals were clean, as expected. Super high harmonies towards the end there in that layer as well, just to spice up that last chorus. But wow, what an intro. I'm super keen for the next track. Let's get into number 2. Coming in, track 2, Pretty Impossible. Let's have a look. Written by Carolyn Polachek and just Danny Hall, produced by just the two of them as well. So no Daniel Nigro on this. Let's go. Syncopation straight out the gate. The tightness of this album seems a lot more clear than Pang. Okay, well that's got to come back, isn't it? Woo! Another great percussion loop. Okay, sort of ABAB. More harmonic information. Ooh, there's that. Yeah, the sub coming through big. Lots of that in Pang as well. But this is such a tighter sound. Woo! Same note that was in the previous song, but wow, she held that. God. She gives you a lot. Super wide. Very spacious mix. Like, really good use of the stereo field. We're getting a lot of these fourth jumps too. And so it gives her vocal, like, melodically, this, like, getting a lot of these fourth intervals. You don't get as much melancholy feel, right? It's not sitting in a minor space. It's pentatonic. So when you do get the smaller intervals, they really stand out. There it is again. And that sub is killer. Strings on the long, 2 beats each, right? Right, well, she's here syncopated 8s and percussion on the 16th, man. Every subdivision full. Cool. Lovely orchestral finish. Strings are a nice touch. So there was semitones happening in that the da-da-da-da-da. I think we're really revolving around these perfect fourth intervals, right? So you get some jumps, which is nice. So you get a bit more of a range in the melody, and obviously we got a massive range. Kind of want to find that spot again, man. It was the same note that was in Welcome to My Island, but she held that up there, and she was singing it like super tightly. Oh, beautiful. But I think, yeah, just the feel of this is already so different from Pang. It's really tight in the rhythms. Pang opens in such a mysterious place. Now this is just like straight in with the grooves, really nice, clear subdivisions in your vocals, a lot more rhythmic on the delivery for her most of the time. Yeah, your percussion is just really filling out these 16ths all the time. We had that beautiful percussion loop that was straight in, and so that just keeps you moving, man. And she's really, I don't know, it's evolved for sure since the last album. Big fan. Very structured writing too in terms of lines. Working with a little more sort of let's say 8-bar structures, but melodically, we're not feeling like these big pop progressions. The harmony's not so obvious. A lot of the time that was just kind of pulled out, left to the bass. The bass is still very similar to Pang. You had these real gritty sub basses that would really come and come up on these lower semitones as well. Really mysterious. But she's got a bit more of a jolly melody over the top there. So it doesn't feel as like dark as Pang. It's a lot more vibrant, I would say. But we're still not in like pop territory. Really great flavor to it so far. Excellent. All right. Keen for the next one, which I have heard, and it's a banger. Let's go. Track 3, the one I've been waiting for. I don't know about you. Bunny is a Rider. I've heard this track before. This is written by Carolyn Polachek and Danny L. Hall, produced by the two of them as well. By a long shot, the most popular song on this album. Understandably, it was released before the album came out. But if you know the answer to what she means by Bunny is a Rider, let me know in the comments. Let's have a listen first. Let's go. Straight to a wicked bass line. Really textural. But then
Bunny, here's a rider.
Boom. So straight away, you get a bit of a groove, pretty full. Lots of the percussion gets taken out, and we just get that plucked synth, bling, bling, which is on a really weird timing, which doesn't make too much like rhythmic sense without the context of the rest of the percussion, which is a great technique because then when you can put everything back in, which will happen later, it's going to sound really nice together. But straight away vocally, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, like it's just so simple and catchy. So I don't know what she means by these lyrics, but it's catchy as.
Bunny, here's a ain't nothing for free. Bunny, here's a ride.
And then there's the variation.
No sympathy.
So
But I'm so unfit.
an interesting verse structure, right? It's kind of like an AABC, but only very slight variations, and they really like catch you off guard, especially that long Bunny is a ride. That comes out of nowhere. It's a really nice forward-moving tool, and this is cool.
I do feel like splitting. I do, heart isn't breaking.
Falling fourth this time. Up and then return of the perfect fourth.
I do, but don't drop my name. Bunny, here's a rider.
And then we go back into the chaos, right?
Can find it.
As we move to the next chorus. This is like the chaos zone. Little bits and pieces coming at you, but not everything.
you cut that track, crush that wreck. Now
Definitely more obvious AAB C structure here, but a line like this: can you cut that check, crush that wreck? You know, you got lots of these harsh consonants in there, and it's the more rhythmic line. It's a thing, man. When you got to select the right sound that your mouth is making, and she does it, I tell you. She's choosing these words that you wouldn't normally put together. Trying to wet that palate, can you cut that check, crush that wreck? That's hard to think of. I love it. But still, yeah, you know, kind of chaotic.
trying to catch that rabbit, but I'm so unfit.
And then here's our structure, right? A nice, comfortable repetition. So bass line. Very simple, just dump, 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 stepping us up, da, da, and down, da, da, forwards. And that up there again. It's amazing how much you can do just with a da 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 da. It's such an interesting song. So, you know, I wish I could show you guys me listening to that for the first time. Also watched a few live performances of it. Really cool. This analysis is a bit more technical because I've heard it a couple of times, but this song feels like a tech demo of like a video game where it's like you're just kind of exploring the technology. Like, what can we do here? How can you take this one? Bunny is a raider. Na, 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 na. Sympathy. Like, that is a lot of it. Da, 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 da. And then it's just like, all right, we take that and we explore that. So sometimes you have da, 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 na, na. And then you have the bunny is a. So you're chopping this idea up into multiple rhythmic ideas that we return to, right? It feels so satisfying when you come out of da, 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 in the chorus, and then we drop back into you can feel the rhythmic contrast, right? So it's again playing with this bass. You should always be doing this in your songs. You know, we fill up with harmony and a nice scale run up just over a few notes in the bass line in that chorus. And the synths kind of fill the harmonic space, but then in the verses, it's just kind of snippets of like rhythmic information coming at you. And that's this kind of chaos that gets put together. But it's just fun. It's just fun. Again, it's very explorative. I think she's really paving the way. Her, Charlie, these kinds of artists are really pushing the boundary of like indie electronic, and they're making their own genre, which is a little more chaotic. And I haven't really dipped my toes fully into it. It's really just Carolyn and Charlie that I've listened to. So if there's more in this kind of style, I'll definitely love to give it a go. But yeah, man, fun song. Simple, rhythmic. Album's great so far. Let's keep going. Track 4, we've got Sunset. Looks like another really popular one. I believe this one was released again before the album came out. Huge energy, man, so far. We got written by Carolyn Polachek, Salvador Navarrete, produced by Carolyn Polachek and Siga Bodega. It's a bit of a different crew on this one. But yeah, let's see where the energy goes because it's been very vibrant so far. All right. Energy's there. Flamenco. Oh, yeah. Oh, and she's on. Dun, 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 dun.
Said no regrets, 'cause you're my sunset, fiery red, forever fearless and in your arms.
Whoa. Love it.
So many stories we were told about a safety net.
Nice little poppy transition.
It's just a hand that's holding mine. I'm wearing black dim on the southern regrets, 'cause you're my sunset, fiery red, forever fearless and in your arms, a warm horizon.
This is beautiful, man.
Let's ride away, let's ride away.
This is perfect for her, I think. Yeah. We have reached a new peak. High G there. So nice.
No regrets, 'cause you're my sunset. Let's ride away, let's ride away.
Yeah. God, you could listen to that over and over again. Yeah. Lots of interesting stuff. Straight with the Spanish influence. Flamenco, Spanish guitar. Yeah, but it's still tied rhythmically. This is such a next step from Pang because, I don't know, like, this is the perfect Caroline pop, I think. Structured, rhythmic focus. This one was like, all right, the serious chord progression. Dun, 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 dun. I missed that. The third chord is not right, but I think it's sort of alternated between this one. Going down there, and then sometimes to the major, and sometimes I think to there, perhaps. Could be wrong. We'll have to go and check that. So harmony-wise, a lot more structure, and melody-wise, man, you had right up there. That beautiful melody, you could just listen to that for days. Just so nice on the ears. And she just delivers that beautifully, man. Like, there's such strength in her voice when she hits that and she's in that range, that real falsetto, but like powerful falsetto. We'll go 2 rounds on this one. I got to listen to that again just to catch some of the melody work. But beyond that, yeah, the lyrics make sense, man. So imagery, fiery red, sunset. The vibrancy of the lyric is reflected in the music. This warm sun, this fire, this flamenco, right? The fuego is coming through for sure. That's very impressive. I'm going to have a second listen because I want to pick up some more. Sunset round 2, man. I'm keen. God, just rhythmically, this is so cool. Okay, I got the chord progression totally wrong. Then we got that. We have then the major, then. So that's our verse, which is beautiful, right? Because you have the 2 minor chords, and then this sunrise, open to the major. But there was a small variation there where we swap out that last chord. We give you a bit of false hope, and then we darken to there. So that's a harmonic change. So the guitar riff and her vocal melody is just following the scale. Right? Nothing complicated there.
But when I look for it, it's just a hand that's arms.
So there, in your arms. That is mimicking that motif when she goes super high. But the subdivision switch, right? We have this da 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 dotted 8ths. Chorus, we have this triplets. Dun, 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 dun. I think it might be triplets, but definitely along the subdivision, which works beautifully over that nice fast-paced rhythm in the percussion. And notice, so beautifully arranged too. So you have the background vocals sitting real low, and then the flamenco is kind of in the middle, and she's on the top. So you got this beautiful cake of vocals, guitar in the middle. It's very tasteful. It just works really well together. You know, there's nothing competing rhythmically either, because they each have a subdivision each. You know. That's your minor fall into it, right? So the end of that chorus, let's ride away. As she comes down, it's not as bright as this, let's ride away. You know, it's not hopeful. It's let's ride away. It's got that, just that touch of melancholy to it. This is so nice. Yeah, long subdivision in the strings and background vocal. Everything else working. Wow, yeah. Just a beautiful puzzle put together with everything not clashing. Everything's got its own character identity, separate, not only tone, you know, so if you look at those background vocals, really, really heavily EQ'd off the top. They're really not breathy at all. And she's offering the treble in the lead vocal. So therefore the background vocals are out of the way and the guitar is just cutting through the mid. Incredibly difficult to put together a song and arrange a song like that. It is busy. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of instruments. There's a lot of parts. There's a lot of melodies. But they're very, very expertly written so that that all works together nicely. You're doomed if you don't do that. And you cannot fix that with production. Goes to the idea where it's like the best production is a good song. You know, it's a well-written song. Yeah, you cannot try and work and force rhythms and melodies that don't work together to work together just by using production and you know, scooping out mids and highs from certain instruments to try and get them to, you know, share the space. No, you just got to write them differently. And so the writing, that's what I'm here for. And that was a beautifully written song. Quite poppy, but still very Caroline in the way that the vocals were delivered. And a fresh take on her work, man. Huge props to everyone who worked on that track. It's a banger. Next one. Track number 5 is Crude Drawing of an Angel. Very interesting title. Written by Carolyn Polachek and Danny Hall. Produced by Carolyn and Danny. Awesome. Let's get into it. All right, so we finally come down a bit in tempo. Okay.
It's a matter of time till you wake up and watch.
This is what we're familiar with. That hollow reverb.
After you're gone, I got something.
Oi.
to hold on to.
Those flips. A lot of swelling, this volume automation coming through in the synth. And then shutting off. A lot of space in this track. Oh, God. No one does this, man. Very different energy in this. Would have been right in its place in Pang on this album. Completely different context, man.
Skip the whites of your eyes.
That's what I'm talking about, those flips. What? She does that vocally like so perfectly, man. It's like you'd think it was auto-tune, but no, she just does it.
Wake up and watch me. Be shy. No, I'll not be gentle with you.
Very interesting. So now we see a lot more semitones in the vocal. Not many of these fourths. It's very and because it's, you know, it's got some weight to it. It's got some mood. Yeah. There's that 80s harmonic timing. 1, 2, 2. Oh, there's the major change. Okay, and then we come back. So there was a... Went to the 1 there. Wow, such a different one. Good spot in the album to throw some low energy. That was what I'm more familiar with from Caroline. Yeah. Would have had its place on the previous album for sure. Very hollow production, way more space, and just having this gentle pulse. So you had this wave-like motion. And a little bit of a steady groove, slow tempo, doom, 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 boom, but, and so the snare there was just like this kind of electronic tom sound, super dry, hollow sound on the snare, and then that's just leaving space for Carolyn to just really get in there, and she didn't hold back. We get again right up there. Man, it's just such a piercing place in her vocal range. Love it when she hits that. Very, very nice. It's not flashy, like she's going there in a way that does not ruin the song. It's just like, look at me, I can sing high. It's like, no, this is like a beautiful exit. She does it after this chorus, is it? But yeah, so this is the first song I think in this album so far where we haven't had such a tight rhythm, haven't had such a tight structure. And so yeah, you combine, so we're back in the minor key, which we were in Sunset, but very frequently using the minor chords and lots of this semitone, the two semitones in that minor scale to sit on a lot of the time, just bring those vocals into that sort of more melancholic place until she really shot it up there. But towards the end, there was that one change. Let's see if we can go back and find it. There we go. So we actually hit the 2 major chord there, right? So we're kind of walking down. But you would, in key, that would have been sitting there. But however, we switch and bring in that major 2 chord just for a bit of modal interchange to really catch the ear, which it definitely did. And if you listen in context, it just brightens it up a little, Again, we know she's very inspired by Enya. Very big technique that Enya would use. That major 2 chord gives it that, a bit of brightness. The first sort of modal interchange we've had so far in the album, whereas in Pang it was all over the place. I'm keen to hear more. I think it sounds really good for her when she does that kind of thing. Woo, loving it, man. Are we going to sit in this bit more of a darker place now? We'll ramp it back up. Let's see. Next track. Track number 6, The Halfway Point, is I Believe. And we have another new writer, Ariel Rekshade. I'm definitely not saying that right. Carolyn Polachek and Daniel Hall on the writing, produced by Carolyn Polachek, Danny Hall, and Ariel as well on the production. So a new face, I believe, taking over her vocal chop, which before, so that was in the was on her voice. Now a synth has taken over. And notice the little pickup. So we have an A-B. So generally, all right, structurally, I'm going to go over a bit of a rant here. So not a rant, a ramble. I'm going to go over a bit of a ramble about song structure here. You have, so A, B, C, whatever, which refers to how similar certain lines are to each other. So here we had an A and then a B and then an A and then a B. A lot of the time you see like a little cadence line at the end. So you'll have this idea, something else, same idea. And then the last line, it's still a B section, but maybe, a tiny little variation in the rhythm just to take us into the next section, which might not be different enough to call it a C line, something else like an A, B, A, C, which did not show up here. And you don't always have to do this, but you have to give it something. And so what she's done is used a pickup here in Oh Little Miracle, right? Miracle, the mi in Miracle is the downbeat. And so you have Oh Little as your pickup into that rhythmically. So that's all you need. If it just came in on the downbeat, you would have had a very bland structure, I think, and it wouldn't have worked too much. So just that one little pickup, oh little, before Miracle. It's a lot of time to take up just to talk about that small point, but I think it's very important. Let's see where the chorus goes. Oh, yeah. Oh. Interesting. It's a journey, this one. Really. Every time. This is interesting. Ooh, okay, some more modal interchange, right? And it's very stabby. Yeah, harmony, a lot more complex here. Another one. Oh my god, this is going everywhere. The flips, man, that passaggio. Perfect. This is wild, man. She's just having a field day. No, you are kidding me. Wild vocals. Man, I don't think we're going to get any higher than the G. Hold up a second. Let's go back. You're kidding me. That definitely hit the top there. She hit the C. That is ridiculously hard. Like, incredibly hard. Forget about the rest of the song. Like, there is so much going on there. Production, beat, harmony. I'm definitely gonna have a second listen. It's gonna take me a while to break down that harmony there, but man, like, what? She just jumped straight to it. That was crazy vocals at the end there. I thought she was happy hitting that G. Man, woo! So, yeah, gonna have a second listen. Claps to Carolyn, man. That is exceptionally hard to sing. Most artists could sing over that instrumental. I'm not going to discredit these artists, but compare that to the work of someone like Ava Max, Miley Cyrus recently. Let's do Sabrina Carpenter we listened to. Say for vocals. And look, understand, work to your ability. You know, they could take that instrumental, make it a great song. But Carolyn can take that instrumental and make it an epic song. That was nuts vocally. Breakbeat, cool. Lots of little sounds going on that. There was lots of more modal interchange. I asked for it. We got it. It was teased to us in Crude Drawing of an Angel. Now we're going full. We're going full modal. So bear with me on a second listen. Let's do it. And there we end. Man, just spent a solid amount of time getting the harmony down for that. So we're starting. We'll take it all the way through it.
Look over the edge, but not too far.
We get the E in the bass, right? And we're just alternating. Which would imply this kind of just an E minor. So now we drop into the C. So that's the big giveaway for the E minor, right? Because we're here and we're just kind of hovering. But then finally in the end of that pre-chorus, and we resolve that to the major, the relative major. Then now that's our home. So really cool, right? We're flipping now into D major. So from an E Aeolian to, we get that, or just the D major, right? So we're still coming back to our E minor chord, which we had after this progression. We're still coming back to this. But that is your game changer right there, which is actually the dominant here in the key of D, which pulls us to there. I'm going to call it an E Aeolian to an E Dorian. It's that added leading tone into the D.
No, I
Now this is right. We feel like we go something else. We finish off our little chorus progression. I think it actually goes to the B minor the last time. And we expect to come back to here, either to this alternating harmony there. But instead, we come out of this to the C major, which is still the E minor scale, right? Back to the Aeolian. So same as the verses, but we're really hammering now this that C major chord. So we'll listen one more time. Right? Home bass. Then bam. Which really gives it that lift, right? C Lydian, really. Then there, we just tease a little bit. I think an E major 7. 7 just to give it a bit more subtlety. We get that, which teases. So, an E Ionian. And so what we're doing is we're going E, Aeolian, Dorian, and Ionian just for a tiny bit, which is moving, I believe, clockwise on the circle of fifths, which is bringing it out of the darkness slowly, right? If you think which modes in order of tension, Locrian all the way down on the dissonant end, as we go from Aeolian to Dorian, and then hinting on that sort of brighter E major 7 for the Ionian sound. You can see the shifting of mood. Now check this. Is interesting. So we're actually still, it sounds like a completely different key, but we're actually back into the G major, which was our pre-chorus drop. But this time we're coming at it with the chord progression that was in the chorus. So we're not going to a completely new key. We've already had this, our E, in this case minor. But it's just it sounds a lot more like a G major here. Same. But yeah, I just think that's just so cool, right? So you're really pushing from this Aeolian, hinting at this Dorian, getting the E Ionian for a little bit, and then really settling at the end of the song in our G major. The choruses up until this point have been all in the D major. Hope this is all making sense. So this is the only chorus that uses the G major. So we get a huge lift for that last one. But just modal mixture all around. The harmonic stabs, dun, 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 like it really brings me back to 80s stuff. That kind of glam rock, but female fronted, think like Heart and stuff. I dig it. Lots going on, man. Vocal just pushing. Yeah, that was a bit of a harmonic journey, that one. I'm hoping that the rest are a bit more followable for me. But nonetheless, a great song. And the next one I'm very much looking forward to. So let's get to it. Track 7. I am very excited. I am shocked that this does not have way more plays than it does. Fly to You, featuring Grimes and Dido. Written by Carolyn Polachek, Claire Elise Boucher, that's Grimes, and Daniel Hall and Dido Armstrong. Produced by Carolyn Polachek and Danny Hall. So really interesting. I love Grimes just as an artist. Dido's great as well. So my dad, hugely obsessed with Dido. That's rubbed off on me a bit. Heard a lot of Dido when I was a kid. But this just sounds like a collab made in heaven. I'm hoping the production's got some energy to it, like Grimes usually brings. I'm really excited for this. Let's go. Fly to You, Grimes and Dido. Ooh, I'm ready. Subtle groove already. Oh yeah. That's what we love. Classic Grimes breakbeat.
Gentle at last. Closer and closer and closer to you, baby. I'm dying to find you.
So almost no structure to that verse, melodically. Oh, these perfect intervals. Oh. A lot of this. It's just arpeggio work. Lovely. See, I think the three women here, their voices actually share a lot of qualities. Like this is like Carolyn's darker side. Dido's really bringing that out, and Grimes brings out Carolyn's shinier side. Like if you split them into two people, you'd get Grimes and Dido, I reckon.
That nobody else can see.
And this groove, super light, but so not quite the fourth, but the fifth interval there. Very interesting, man. The textures are so beautiful. Grimes really fits the production, actually. So all these vocals from everyone, almost not getting any dun 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 out of the vocal, the eighth note. It's all quarters or longer. And very irregular.
I'm looking for something that nobody else can see.
Such a great tune. I'm a sucker for those three together. Woo, beautiful. Really good blend. Like, it suits each of them in their own regard. Caroline really shines on the vocals, just hitting like the bigger intervals and the jumps. And she sticks out a little bit more, like I said, because Dido's voice is buried a little bit, like just her tone. She's very under the mix. Caroline's very on top of the mix. And Grimes is in the mix, at least the way she treats her vocals with lots of this reverb. Grimes really tries to sort of wash her vocals in, blend it with the atmosphere. So that worked really well, right? Because I think naturally all of them wanted to be in a different space anyway, even with such a similar vocal tone, like that soft female tone. Really cool. Arpeggio-based stuff. So not a lot of dissonance going on in the harmony. You had mostly just that and that, right? These two nice bright chords, but it had a very positive vibe. And so even though there wasn't much of a vocal like chorus, so now I'm seeing why this isn't like a hugely popular song, because it's definitely not a pop structure. It's just these kind of very irregular rhythmic motifs that don't really repeat. There's nothing super catchy in them. Though they come back, right? We had Grimes' verse come in and then that repeated at the end over the top with Caroline. But I think what really makes it enjoyable is the breakbeat just gives it danceability and it gives it a lot of pace. So I don't know if that was Grimes' idea or that's a lot of what her music is, that just sort of almost sort of clubby, close to, like, it's like a lighter version of drum and bass. I don't know. But just this kind of scratchy percussion and a little jungly, if you listen to Miss Anthropocene, it's full of that kind of thing. So I can see the influence. You were still moving because of that, just the groove. But the vocal melodies, they just sat in a sweet place and they just filled up the speakers once again. Some beautiful arrangement of those vocals in terms of, writing, lots of this. So we had some perfect intervals more coming in, a lot of octaves, a lot of perfect fourths, a lot of perfect fifths. So it's just a really, really sweet sounding melodies. I actually really like that. I knew I was going to like that from the get-go. Beautiful textures, beautiful layering, and natural separation of the vocals in terms of how they all want to treat their own vocals as individual artists. Plucky sounds and a bit more ambience than usual. on the lighter ambience. So yeah, really nice collaboration there. Happy to see. And let's hit the second half of the album. Coming in at track 9 is Blood and Butter. Interesting mix. Written by Danny Hall and Caroline Polachek. Produced by the two as well. Very popular song. Let's go. Interesting sound.
Say you wanna show me a place, the place is here, the year is inside.
Clear 16th in the vocal. Ticka, ticka, ticka.
Where did you come from?
Very organic instruments. Nice.
Playing at the foot of a Linden
So,
naval ring invented.
yeah, good stuff. Super rhythmic, 16th note focus, but you have the dum da dum da, every now and then, ticka 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 da dum da da dum da, just to break up the pattern. But it's still a 16th note focus in the vocals, so we're probably going to elongate.
To walk beside you, needing nothing but the sun that's in our eyes.
Oh yeah.
Fire in the sky, let me dive through your face to the sweetest.
The acoustic.
Call you up, nothing is
Like,
Give me
just overall, the energy of this whole album so far, how much brighter is this compared to Pang? Man.
green and ripping red on get.
But it's just a little lighter. None of these like thick atmospheres that we had before in the other album. Brilliant. Really contrasting sections here.
Got you all mythological and Wikipedia. Look how I forget who I was.
Smooth, man. Tight harmonies actually too.
To walk beside you, needing nothing but the sun and holy water. Fire in the sky, let me dive. Is the bed, give me green and ripping.
Yeah, a lot more poppy. Yo, bagpipes though. Super feel good. Hitting the high dominant. Just gets better. So we moved into the C. I'm just vibing. I'm not really saying much about this one. This is just enjoyable. Certainly some of the poppiest stuff we've got out of her. Cruisy as. We ended up between those two, which was the 4-5 in C, is that alternating thing that I always talk about. If you want this like very floaty feel, either the 4 and the 5, right? Which is what we had at the end there, or the 1 and the 4, right? But it gives you, so both of those progressions give you that nice swaying, feel good. But man, like that's just a great feeling song. I want to listen to that definitely again. Look at those verses lyrically. Paints a lovely picture. I mean, imagery all over the place. But I really love that third verse here. Look at your mythological and Wikipediated. and notice the delivery on that line was ticka, ticka, ticka. It really supported the 16th note. So again, talked about this. Those consonant sounds, Wikipediated. There's a lot of closed mouth syllables in there versus something softer and more gentle like the pre-chorus, right? Where we had paint the picture in blood and butter, and you have these more soft plosives, blood, but, right? It's not a p or a t or a k that are really harsh. Watch that, right? As the vocal gets rhythmic, you are almost forced to use these like shorter syllables. And it worked really well in that third verse. Let's go back there and have a listen, right? So third verse. So jungly.
Look at you all mythological and Wikipedia. Look how I forget who I was before I was the way I am with you.
So right up until that last line, a lot of gaps in the speech, which makes it really rhythmic. And then compare it to this pre-chorus.
Where did you come from, you? And what I
Here. What I want is
to walk beside you, needing nothing.
what I want is what beside you, needing nothing. There's not many points where the mouth is closed and you get the silence. Don't think I'm looking into this too much detail. Like, this is really important stuff. That your rhythm that comes out is very much influenced by the words that you choose in the way that your mouth makes the sounds. And you can feel the contrast, right? You have the drier, percussion-heavy verse. Super feel good, really jungly. I like it. Hand drums, right? And then this much bigger, more fleshed out harmony, longer phrasing, connected vocals in that pre-chorus. So that's a lot of the lyricism, but just looking at the production, the harmony there, we're just sitting on the one chord. Just the bass as the only harmonic sort of information.
To walk beside you.
And there's beautiful drums, lovely sounding drums. Gives you that really organic feel.
Nothing to say, no, I don't need no entertaining.
There's a lovely acoustic guitar being recorded there. So yeah, it's just the G, the F. That's the Fleetwood Mac, right? The so it's this floaty, you're not moving too far, it's light, the harmony is cruisy. It makes sense, right? Because allows you just to sort of stay in the same place emotionally and just observe that vocal melody. That chorus really hits. So it's not because of the harmony. It's no like fancy tension going on in the chords. You don't have any sort of big build into a resolution. No, we're just kind of just keeping it light and gentle. So it's melodically doing all the work and then the percussion doing heaps there. Really enjoyed that track. Actually, one of my favorites. Probably after Sunset. Sunset was just something else. But yeah, Blood and Butter. Fantastic song. Let's get the next one. Next track, number 9, Hopedrunk Everasking. Interesting title. This is written by Carolyn and Danny, produced by Carolyn and Danny. I wish, there's obviously a lot of poeticism. I don't know. Is that a word? The way she writes is super poetic. I wish it was easier for me to really pick up and the meaning from these lyrics on a first listen. Very hard to do. So bear with me on that. But I know there's a lot of depth to these lyrics and the poetry and the intention behind them. So I hope I can pick as much up as I can. But let's go, Hopedrunk Everasking. Track number 9.
Starlight in a tunnel, kind of familiar. No, your final form.
She does this really well, this kind of song.
So close to me.
Oh, beautiful textures. And that, again, that lovely switch, the passaggio. Her natural sounding flip there is just beautiful. But this is the kind of song she does really well, man. Just stripped all the attention on the vocal. A nice bed of low end underneath her. It's just lovely. The soft keys. Oh, that harmony. The melodies she picks, dude. Yeah, like not many artists decide to pick these notes. Again, more of these falling forth. No, that's a third. Never mind. Yeah. What a touch, just the shimmering strings. Oh, now we're filling up. Give it to me.
Dawn is just a headspace. Centuries come and go. They'll find a bone.
Yeah. Man, it was like an interlude. Again, that's definitely more reminiscent of the Pang stuff. Just because of the atmosphere. Really, really intentional, but gentle keys as well, like really low velocity on the keys. She is just shining on the top and doing very signature vocal melodies that she does, like just weird intervals, and I just want to catch the key. See, this is that shift there. Yeah, I think we are in the E major, C sharp minor, but there's a lot of hanging on this, right? So it's interesting. One more time. I want to catch there's one minor change, because this is all very hopeful and nice and shiny. Solidly in D there, and then yeah. Okay, so clearly there. So you hear solid dominant there going, so we come into the, which is our sixth chord in the key of E. And then very clearly hearing that fall. But this previous section where we hear featuring that D major chord, right, which is not in the key of E. And this A is sort of the connecting point here. You know, we're alternating between I'm going to say an A major and E major. So related keys, right? So they are next to each other. Next to each other on the circle of fifths, right? So you're moving in a fifth. Again, so it's this clockwise around the circle of fifths that gives you this brightness. You're going from the darker modes into the brighter modes. Very cool. Very good way to shift moods. Dreamy, right? Just paves the foundation for these much more delicately delivered vocals. It feels like every single line in this song is like really, really intentionally, like, I mean, every song of hers, she does that anyway, but you can really feel the intention here and, you know, just holding on a few notes. And I just want to highlight, man, like going into that second verse, let's go back there. Like, oh, like, come on. When those harmonies come in, so the thing about Carolyn Polachek harmonies is, in a song like this, sometimes she really goes wild with it. But a more stripped song, right? It's just one voice on the harmony. No doubles, no nothing. It's just the lead and the harmony. Very separated. Not a lazy harmony at all. Like, they're just very good choices of harmony. Like, right, so you see some the melody stays the same, slows, and the harmony. So you got all these different kinds of motion. If she needs to create a little bit more of a detail on the end of a line, using that harmony as that second voice to just not take you away from the lead, but provide, again, because there's not a lot of instruments, right? It's very stripped back. So these little details coming out of the vocal just really make a big impact. The harmonies don't stop there. You keep going, and then by the time we get sort of here, now we start to really wash it. And the strings come in, and we create the orchestra. So beautiful way to develop a more stripped back track. I find like this song it's very emergent, right? You start from like this single seed, and it's just this one line where we get the title as well, Hopedrunk Everasking. It's a Shakespeare reference, apparently. Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? So starts from this very intimate place with just this one line, and then it just grows out, and the harmonies come in as this kind of branch, and it starts to split, and then the voices come in, and then you just grow this thing. And I think it's harder to do in tracks like this because there's less elements to work with. There's no obvious ways to make that happen. So you got to be a real artist, and let me tell you, that was pulled off beautifully. Very much a fan of those kinds of songs for Caroline, which is a bit more rare on this album. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Let's head to the next track. Coming in at track 10, this is Butterfly Net. Just the two of them again, Caroline Polachek and Danny L. Hall, both on the writing and production. So probably not something too unexpected here. Let's go. So this is very similar to, was it Crude Drawing of an Angel?
London fell asleep.
With the volume automation.
She dreamed of a winter.
Suspended.
You'd be to me.
Yeah, again, like the poetry in the writing, in the lyrics. Ugh. It's hard to put structures on her music, but how she does it is just that control of space, man. We opened right up. We hollowed right out. That, how much space is there between was and then with? Snare. Oh, yeah, right. Again, we get this modal progression. They're just having a field there with the harmonic content here. Really long instrumental. Cool. So slower tempo, but the vibrancy of that instrumental section, and again, everything's dent. You have the clanging on the eighth notes with the groove pulsing on doom, 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 clink, 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 clink. So it's all moving. It's all moving. So the vibrancy is there versus the previous song. That just bright. Man. Oof. Yeah. Cool. So, keeping a lot of space, but we see, again, these modal interchange sections. We're going to go through it just like we did the other song. Shifts the mood dramatically, but her vocals are so consistent in delivery that you almost don't notice it. There, right? Loving this percussion. She dum bum 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 bum. So she's creating this polyrhythm idea, the 2 against 3. Bum, 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 bum. Just pace is increased now, but I don't think we're going to get it, what I was going to mention, but I'm happy to have this again. Woo! Another lift. Very interesting. A little difficult to listen to, you know, if you're not a sophisticated listener. Ooh. Oh, here we go. Caroline explained the meaning of Butterfly Net through the Spotify storyline feature. Butterfly Net in the chorus lyric is a stand-in for my foolish attempts to hold onto something intangible. In that sense, it's about loss and outgrowing the impulse to keep souvenirs. So, right. That puts a lot of context to the production. the intangible feeling of it. The percussion sounds very tangible, very real on the percussion. But we'll go and check through this harmony because it's sounding very dreamlike again, just because of the use of certain modes, especially this Lydian. So from the top, a little intro, but we are here, D major. D. So that first there is when we start to hint at that F natural on a B flat chord. So that's the key of F, right? So the parallel, so D major, parallel minor is D minor, and the relative major of that is the F major. You can catch the switch. So right there is our B flat chord, the 4 chord in F, and then that climbs to the C, back to the D major. Now this is interesting chorus, so that's the lift into the F, the D mixolydian. Beautiful. I'm hoping I'm getting that right. So now, in this verse, now we're really just hitting that parallel minor. We've fully gone into the D minor, right? And we're sitting and just embracing that darker sound. And then you can feel there, as we open up into the chorus, we get the parallel major, right? And we flip back into the D. So you're starting. This almost like tierce to Picardy thing, if you know what that means, going into the chorus, and it just brightens the mood. It's so beautiful. We sit there, C taken from the F key, and then the second time, so the first part of the chorus, this time, after being in the minor verse, we do exactly what it did in, I believe, right? Alternating between this D major, C major. Then, halfway through, we keep the same melody, but we drop into the relative minor again. So the parallel minor, which allows us a much more easy transition to drop there, which really is speaking in that F. So it's this beautiful play of parallel keys, right? Major versus minor. So we're flipping between D major, D minor. Lovely, lovely technique. And you can really feel the open up. Like after sitting in this place in the verse, and then just coming out. And it was hinted at the very beginning of the song in this, right? That is coming through on the F sharp, and then that we hear the F natural there, right? So it's a beautiful, beautiful control of harmony. You know, it also gives it that dreamy quality, which ties in with the theme of the song of this unable to catch this thing where we don't feel as grounded as we could be, as if we either just stuck in the major key or stuck in the minor key. It gives you a lot of options, you know. Modal interchange just opens you up to a lot of options, right? When you're just not stuck with, all right, well, we got the 1, 4, the 5, the 6, and what else can we do, you know? So props to Caroline and Danny, really expand the harmonic vocabulary here, but do it in a way that complements the song a lot. Vocals, amazing, excellent. Those signature Caroline melodies where it's like fairly heavily featuring some of those perfect intervals once again. So this kind of vocal performance, you know, she gives on almost every song, and I'll never get sick of it. It's fantastic. And I hope we get it on the next song, which we're going to go to now. Second to last track. We're already here. This is Smoke. This one, again, Caroline Polachek and Danny Hall, the dynamic duo. Lovely, mysterious title. Let's get into Smoke.
It's just smoke.
Okay. Groovy. You can't hear it yet. Like there's no percussion yet, but you can tell. There it is. Wow. Ooh, some uneasy pitch bends, but we're fairly diatonic here. The pitch bends make it real interesting, and she does it a little bit too. There, she falls into it. Similar to Fly to You, we get this light breakbeat just driving underneath, and she's just flying. Cool, but I like how it tightens up. Things got a bit chaotic, right? You had these dives in the backing, and even her vocal a little bit started to get a bit chaotic, but then it gradually gets chaotic, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're back here. Percussion starts to line up again, and you're good to go. Second verse. Cool. Yeah, so here we just fill up. Damn, that synth. So reaching again up into this pitch. Go obvious, just groovy section. Cool. Breakbeat is just going the whole time, right? Vocal, hello. Short and sweet, nothing much to that. This kind of falling in the harmony too. But the main thing, yeah, so when you got this, got these light break beats. So again, same beat we had in Fly to You, very nice. That is so nice when you really make use of the syncopation, the danceability of that, right? Because the second snare there, boom, snare, right? That's the one that's pulled back. It's the unexpected snare versus dum, snare and a dum and a snare. We've got that extra one, dum and a snare and a snare. So that is what is really popping out. And then that part, the na na na, na 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 na. It's the same syncopation, right? So you're working together, percussion and that little na na na. It's serving a rhythmic purpose, right? Just those two things: a breakbeat with the na na na. That's all the groove and you need. And when you have, I've said this many times, when you have a groovy section like that, you have almost permission to just keep it going, go 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 go. And then you have a few little, ad libs in here. Yeah, interesting production there. That synth, a lot of gliding synths. And pitch bending and things like that. While it wasn't crazy out of pitch or again taking any modal chords, doing that is going to just create a little bit more of an unstable foundation for the vocals over the top. You get a little bit. I just felt the whole time it had this kind of slippery, falling feeling, just like Butterfly Net. It like this trying to. It's almost like she's trying to convey. This is like it's hard to ground, right? It's very hard to land, except when we did get into that groovy section and then everything sort of comes back and locks back in. You're like, cool, I know where we are now. And that's what I appreciate about her music, because you get some songs you can sort of just soak in her vocals for a while. Then you get the other songs that are more tightly put together, and it's just a nice snap back to something a bit more familiar. In this case, we get in the one song, right? You get a little bit of that free form vocal over the top in the verse. I like it when you can get lost in that a little bit, and then boom, straighten up, get into a groove for a little while, and you sort of just get taken on a bit more of a journey. Pretty cool stuff. Is not often fast paced. She would rather let the instruments do the pacing, but heavily syncopated. So you're not bored out of your mind, just kind of duh, 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 duh. Don't see her do that very often at all. So she is most definitely not driving the pace with the vocal rhythm, which is generally what you might find on more of a pop record. She has done it on a couple of songs here, but not often. And I would feel weird if she did. And it gives them a chance to shine. A lot more held notes allow us to enjoy her tone, which one of the better tones I've heard, I'll tell you that. She can sing. It's very, very nice, pleasing sound, but we only have one more track to go. So I think we should get to it. Shall we? Guys and girls, here we are. The final track on Desire, I Want to Turn Into You. Track number 12, Billions. You know what to do. Drop your whole album, gang, in the comments if you made it this far without skipping the timestamps. And this one, written by Danny Hall and Carolyn Polachek, produced by the two of them as well. Looks like they are just unstoppable, these two. But yeah, see how we close it out. It's been a pretty high energy album, at least for Caroline. So I wouldn't mind seeing a nice high energy finish. What do we got? Billions. Ooh, lots of reverse sounds. Interesting. Return of these hand drums. Metallic sounds.
Psycho, priceless, good in a crisis.
Okay.
Working the angle.
There it is. It's these notes that she just reaches a little higher than you'd expect.
Golden cage.
She's got a strange authority to her voice. I don't know why.
Yeah, salty.
This is
Lies like a sailor.
This is what I mean. This slow-paced delivery over like a busy instrumental. But here, had it in a couple of the other songs, just almost no structure to the vocal melodies, man. She's just going wherever she wants. But it's okay because dun, 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 is being kept up in that instrumental. Damn, the heart in their voice. Ooh, that's unusual. Very rarely do you see it drop that fast. Dancing a lot on these seconds. Right, just sticking within a fourth and just moving in small steps. When she does do her thing with the flips and the high flips, it stands out, man. So, but she's low here too. But small range and low. This groove is just going. Sixteenths reinforced with the string. It's got it all. It's got some push. So that's just that whole sequence of melody right there. Da, 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 da. I don't do it justice. But it's because of those smaller intervals that the bigger intervals just brick your ears up a little bit. And I mean, obviously she's delivered them like magnificently, but it's just contrast. But the way she does it, very satisfying. Right, and now we pull away. Just like, which one was it? Can't remember. I was talking about Chaos. This is Chaos, right? We lost the groove. Where are we? Where's the pitch? And it's probably gonna ground us again. Right. Been the story of this album. There. So close, so near. Just leaving it to the child choir. And that's a nice piano. That. And that's it. Okay. I wanted Caroline's voice to come back. It's too nice. Just fade out. That was it. So on that song, perfect intervals, man. and then lots of this, which are super strong intervals. Until we hit that sort of chaotic section before the choir came in, we were pretty grounded, pretty clear halftime. It's different. Again, the energy's light. The energy is very light. We don't have the heaviness that we had throughout almost the entirety of Pang. So this is just so different. Yeah, what do we got? Just some solid vocals. Really hear the push. This came through in Hopedrunk Everasking as well, but just this like, again, I mentioned it with the collab with Grimes and Dada. Like Caroline is a top singer, like sing on top of this bed. Some singers just naturally, Lana Del Rey, perfect example, done plenty of her, is someone that sings in the track and it's very part of things. There is no wrong or right with that stuff. I just find the way she sings, it's very classically trained. It's very, how would you say? Yeah, like authoritative, right? It just really commands a lot of presence. I think it's been done this way, but just because it's trying to highlight what is naturally working for her, which is this kind of vocal. So the vocal's really shining, but interesting choice. So bringing in the choir to finish the album off, and Caroline dipped. She went. She's gone. A very open end for the next album, which is really cool. But we'll talk about that whole thing in the outro. Let's do it. All right, my friends, that is it. That is the end of a second album from Caroline Polachek. And how can you be upset if you're an artist and you release that as your second album, man? Very cool. I mean, her standards are very high, it seems. World class, really world class, a lot of that album. But I will highlight, man, for me, the difference between Pang and this. Again, I was listening to Pang a lot in the lead up to this. The heaviness of that atmosphere and the mood, the darkness, the thickness of Pang, not showing up here. Barely getting any of that. I would say the most it came to that was in Hopedrunk Everasking. It was most certainly a new place for Caroline, vocally and doing what she does there with the melodies and things like that. Familiar territory. But considering, even Danny Hall showing up on a lot of these tracks still, it felt in a league of its own. It's something separate. If you want something lighter from her, man, this is the way to go. Big fan. A huge fan of the collaboration as well. Grimes and Dido. Never have thought in a million years that those three would get together. That's definitely up there for me. But I'm going to say, look, my favorite tune on the album, very close competition between Sunset and Blood and Butter. Blood and Butter being a lot more pop. So that gets me. What am I saying? Look, they're all great songs. I'm going to give it to... I got to give it to Sunset, man. It was just a bit unpredictable and I haven't heard her voice. I would never have expected the flamenco guitar. So, look, great song. Blood and Butter coming in a close second. Let me know what your favorite track of the album was. But they're all very high standard. Yeah, interesting progression through narratively. A lot of commentary on who she is as a person, as you'd expect from an artist. But there's letting go of things and there's trying to build yourself up to certain expectations that aren't, realistic. Seemed like that showed up a little bit. The album, the name is Desire. I Want to Turn Into You. It seems to be, I'm trying to get something, right? Desire. I'm wanting. There's some tracks in there that an almost lustful intent for certain aspects of life, and so it had that vibrancy to it. But it was like I want this kind of thing, right? And you could definitely clearly hear that, but it was an unsteady want. It was something that felt like it wasn't going to last. And I just love any artist that's going to throw a concept into an entire album and keep that cohesion going rather than just look, I wrote this song, here's my best songs, let's put it on a piece of work. She writes with a lot of intention, it seems like, and the poetry that comes through in the lyrics comes through in the music We saw a lot of use of modal interchange to create those kind of unsteady basses and give ourselves a little bit more exploration when it comes to harmony. Heaps of like perfect intervals, perfect fourths, perfect fifths. That gave a lot of strength to the melody, I feel like, compared to stuff like that was on Pang. That was a lot more dissonant. Sixths, sevenths. So a lot less dissonance I found on this album, which makes it, I think, an easier listen. Look, there's probably a lot I didn't pick up there in the lyricism. Again, she writes very poetically, very metaphorically. Bit hard for me to infer those meanings as I go through. So if you want to discuss something like that, throw it in the comments for me, or even better, again, go to the Discord server. Link is in the description. That way we can have a bit more in-depth discussion on things like that, because I really want to have this kind of discourse. This is why I made the channel, guys. It's just I love talking about this stuff. And that's it. If you haven't already, please do subscribe down below. You get the newest videos fresh to your inbox. Been a pleasure. Thank you for recommending Caroline to me. It was a very good experience. Thank you for coming on the journey with me. If you have any recommendations for what I should react to next, pop them in the comments. Till then, have a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.